And good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Chris Cordani sitting in for Tony Schaefer, but he will be here in just a little bit. We have a couple of pretty cool guests coming in. At least we're waiting for them, but I'll carry you through, and we can also talk here on the chat. We had a nice discussion with Doomcock last week. If you missed it, check it out on Tony Schaefer's YouTube page and all over the place. But if you want to subscribe to us, we'd love that. Spread the word. Share this feed with pals and your social media feed and wherever else. And of course, for some serious, in-depth discussions that you can't say or you can't talk about on YouTube, well, you have Tony's Sentinel Circle, and that's easy to find on his X channel, on his X handle, T Spooky. Subscribe to that for the serious, in-depth content. Of course, we're going to do some silly, in-depth content today. When I say silly, I don't mean we're going to we're just going to talk silliness. Although I remember a long time ago when the Oscars were actually fun. When the Oscars, by the way, were relevant. Well, I'll say relevant to the entertainment world. I was never a big fan, but I do know that I had friends who thought it was a huge day. For many people, it was their Super Bowl. I like the Super Bowl. Halftime shows have always stank, so you don't get me into Bad Bunny or anything else because they were never really that good to begin with. Join me on the live chat. I'd love to know what you thought about the Oscars and everything else here. I want to know what you thought about this. Oh, we're going to talk about the SAVAC. We're going to talk about what's going on with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, and of course, trade, the gas prices, and California's gubernatorial race. That's going to be a mess, and it's going to be a mess we're going to enjoy watching. Well, let's get into that. A long time ago, the Oscars were actually relevant. Again, to people who like the Oscars. That wasn't a big deal for me. I remember my early years, I guess. I was a young lad in the 70s. My parents had watched the Academy Awards and all the other award shows, and they were pretty cool. And again, I was a primary schooler, I suppose, at the time. Then junior high, high school, you got more into it. Hey, what did my guys do? What did my favorite actors do? Some of them got nominated, some didn't. Well, how about this? It gets a lot worse. You you got into the 1980s, the late 1980s when you remember when the movie was it Julia Roberts got Best Actress for Pretty Woman. Not a fan of that. Look, she's a good actor. I get it. She's a decent actress. But for that part, winning an Oscar, the Academy was all about what's popular and what can get people to watch the Academy Awards. They were called out on it. Then they turn around the other way and try to get pretentious and say, well, we're going to find the most independent, obscure films and promote them by nominating their actors, writers, cinematographers, and yes, the supporting actors. So it got a little pretentious, and people were complaining. "Ooh, now we don't even know who the hell's on the Oscars." Although the guy that played Kelly Leak, I think, was nominated for one. Not for Kelly Leak, of course, but that's another story for another day. Didn't didn't it, didn't Anna Paquin get nominated? She was like 9. But I'll pull that back. Come the 2000s, it became nothing but a political, let's just say, soapbox, a megaphone, if you will, for these actors and actresses who were, "Oh, I don't like the war." Yeah, I can never forget when, uh, when George W. Bush pulled into Iran and Afghanistan, and shortly after the Oscars were, "Oh, we're anti-war, we're this, we're that," and I get it. They're left leaning, and a lot of people, even on the right, are not happy with the idea of war. And a lot of people wanted us to be in this quagmire in the first place. But then you heard, and by the way, hello, Jenny. Jenny Kefauver is with me. Tony will be with us in just a little bit, by the way. He's doing something cool right now on Newsmax, or at least he's on the way. But Jenny, do you remember when the Oscars were actually relevant, or at least relevant to people before it became a huge soapbox for the left? I think we're going to get her pretty soon in there. However, when she gets the headphones and things rolling, we'll get that on. So I can't forget when Selma Hayek won her award for, I think it was Best Actress for Frida, and she kept yammering about, "Oh, Frida would be against the war." And I'm thinking, isn't she the chick that boinked all these butcher communist these communist butchers and those who oppressed their own people? I mean, so she celebrates this woman and says, "Oh, Frida would probably love the war as long as the communists were the protagonists, right?" Jenny, can you hear me? I don't think she can. We're gonna figure that one out. I'm gonna let Jenny work on that in a little bit here. Jenny, I think you're unable to hear me, or at least not on yet. So I'm gonna pull you back. I'll get you back. Let's see, who else do we have here? We do have a lot of cool people here. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Tony will be on very soon. I haven't watched the Oscars in decades. That's right. I watch them because you don't have to sometimes. And at this point, I just watch the snippets. I just it's aggravating. Well, nowadays it's just worse. It gets worse because these people just pablum puke and give themselves awards, pat themselves on the back, and now there are DEI requirements. So you have lesser artists, lesser actors winning these awards, and they're just it becomes nothing. And I would bank on the idea that there's so many less people watching it that the awards shows. Hi again, Jenny. We got you here. Yeah, I think we don't hear you. No, I cannot hear you. I think what you might have to do is pop out and back in. I think that's what happens here. It's so is the perils of live streaming, but we'll work that out. I'm gonna pull back out and back in. We'll see what happens. And this is always fun when you do live. I've done live radio for years. I have stories for you. I remember one day. I'll give you some live. We'll talk Oscars, but I remember one day. And we're gonna have Jenny come pop out and pop back in the studio. I used to DJ on a local radio station. I used to run a local radio station, but before I was doing that, I was behind the board for a bunch of shows. And we used to do the old fashioned, since it was a low budget local standalone AM station. We had an event where one host was interviewing people at a garage at a cars dealership. That's what we used to do. At the car dealership, Ronnie Lyons, the great New York Jet, was there. This was before he had his broadcast career. And the guy, what happened was the person who was on location there, his equipment got fried, so they had to do the whole show on a telephone. That's how bad it was that day. So he's on the telephone, the host is on the telephone and trying to do the interview, and he's like, "So what do you think, Barry?" Ronnie, it's Ronnie, not Barry Lyons. Ronnie, what do you think, Ronnie? And he like talks to the folks, but there isn't anybody on the other line. I'm in the studio laughing. And I lost it in there. No, luckily nobody could hear me. And poor the host is like, "Oh no." It may have been one of the worst moments in radio history. Do we have Jenny? I see a smile, but I don't hear you. Yeah, what I'm going to need you to do is go out of the studio and back in. And I think that's what you're going to do. Maybe reboot the computer and see if you have Zoom on, then it's not going to be able to capture you. And that's we'll get you. We'll get you going in there. So we'll work on this. So she's going to have to pop out and back in. Now, let's get back to the Oscars. I'm listening to some of these people yammer on, and let's go to Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien hasn't been funny in a long time, but at least he's a better host than Jimmy Kimmel, a better choice than Jimmy Kimmel. But I'm listening to this guy. He tries to be clever by poking fun at the TPUSA alternate halftime show. And I'm going to get into this.
I should warn you, tonight could get political, okay? And if that makes you uncomfortable, there's an alternate Oscars being hosted by Kid Rock. Yeah. It's at the Dave & Buster's down the street. A lot of tickets for that.
Yeah, he's trying to minimize the whole thing by saying, "Well, that's at Dave & Buster's, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because we're classy and you're not." Okay, nice. And the fact is, it's a funny thing. I would love to see the full numbers. He's referring to the idea that the second largest live stream in internet history was a joke. Which again, you can make fun all you want. It's a free country, but the fact is, I will venture that less people were watching the Oscars. Just like Deborah just a little while ago. She hasn't watched the Oscars in a while. I watch them because you don't have to. I think I left that up there, didn't I? There we go. I think it's worth leaving up there. Then I always wondered what happened to Napoleon Dynamite. So I don't know. I really don't know who these people are anymore. But here's another pablum puking lefty that was whining about something or another.
Against Putin is about how you lose your country. And what we saw when working with this footage, it's that you lose it through countless small little acts of complicity. When we act complicit when a government murders people on the streets of our major cities. When we don't say anything, when oligarchs take over the media and control how we can produce it and consume it.
See, the problem with these people is they're very unaware of themselves. That's what annoys me about them. They don't realize that what they're doing is holding up a mirror to themselves and their own party, their own people, their own affiliation, if you will. The reason why I say that is he's yammering on about people getting killed in the streets. Well, or the government killing people in the streets. First off, I know he's trying to pull the old Minneapolis lie on everybody. There's a difference between protesting and taking part, or let's say screwing up a what's the word am I thinking of? Interfering in a government action or a process or an arrest of very dangerous criminals, rapists, murderers, drug dealers. If the same people stood in front of somebody, first off, they wouldn't stand in front of somebody who was in their neighborhood, who was white or even a black American, and wouldn't stand in the way of federal agents getting them. Why would they stand? They are standing in the way of federal agents because many of them are paid to. Others, they're trying to get likes and views. Some of them have incentive to do so. We've already seen this. And yes, I know there's going to be another No Kings protest. The pots and pans parade will be out there, and it'll be annoying. And by the way, don't forget Tony Schaefer will be here soon, and we're going to have a little fun with him and talk some serious Iran. We're going to talk about everything else here as well. Hopefully, Jenny will be back in. I want to hear what you think about all of this. Then, but again, how irrelevant can you be as it moves forward or backward, if you will? And this guy I never heard of, Javier Bardem. I guess he's in because of the. I guess he's in because of the new DEI requirements for Oscar nominations. He's yammering on about freeing Palestine. Didn't he get the memo that that wasn't the latest thing yet?
No to war and free Palestine.
I love to see that. And free Palestine. Hey, that's not the latest thing. What is he going to talk about Ukraine next? I think we have Jenny back with us. Jenny.
Hello.
And we have you. Yes, that was a weird moment in live streaming. So there we
So
go.
sorry about all the tech fails.
That's okay. I'm the biggest failure here, so no matter what, it's all going to work out that way. Jenny, let's get right into it. I talked about the Oscars for a little while. What these people just pat themselves on the back. They try to they try to preach to us all the time, but it's to the point where the movie quality sucks. They're recycling old movies and trying to pretend they're original by race swapping or gender swapping, and then making them and taking movies they can't really do today from the past and watering them down, dumbing them down for the audience of today, and then they pat themselves on the back and give each other awards for it. As long as you have the right amount of DEI requirements for each of those movies. So
No, absolutely.
yeah, let's think about it. Watered down talent and annoying politics.
It's really sad because the Oscars are not quite what they used to be. Gosh, I'd give you a pat on the back for watching them, a few days ago. I haven't watched in years. It's always a mix of entertainment and subtle politics, and that's part of the culture. I mean, there's definitely some surprises this year, which shows the Academy is still evolving, but I could definitely do without the DEI nonsense that they always try to slip in. I mean, it's supposed to be an award show. I'm not a fan of award shows as it is anyway in Hollywood. It's just sort of a self-congratulatory, pat yourself on the back type of a thing. Just doesn't do it for me.
Totally agreed. And the Grammy Awards have been annoying for a long enough time. And again, a lot of these were watered down anyway. And it's or there's some kind. And I know there were a lot of people on our site complaining about satanic imagery in the one of the Grammys in recent years. And yes, they do that. They dog whistle to other people. That's just what they do.
Mhm.
But the only Oscar I'm going to be watching in the future now, I just can't take it anymore. Is this one, and that's with my I guess great nephews, if you will, and great nieces. He's the only good Oscar, but the Oscars themselves belong in the garbage can. And Oscar the Grouch can come on out and just be grouchy somewhere. Maybe he can get into politics.
There you go.
It's just an annoying and you wanna talk about annoying, then you have Jimmy Kimmel, who makes me puke no matter what. He makes all his money demeaning women. Now look, I like the man show, so I don't care. But him and Howard Stern made all this money being unwoke and insulting and whatever the isms that the left tries to push on people. They made all their money doing that. Then they turn around realizing, oh my God, we better to keep this money. We have to go toe the party line. We have to be as woke as hell.
Mhm.
And believe me, hell is going to be pretty woke. That's a punishment. When he actually called America a ridiculous country.
Are you exhausted?
Am I
By
exhausted?
the state of the world and knowing every night you've got to say
You see
something.
me looking in my face. And
No,
you're exhausted.
no, but I mean,
Yes, I'm exhausted. Of course, it's ridiculous. We live in a ridiculous country. We always lived in a ridiculous country, but it was always ridiculous in a fun Mr. T kind of way. Now we've got a different Mr. T. Yeah.
Orange man bad. That's the mantra. But this guy, if it wasn't for this country, Kimmel, you wouldn't even be anything. You would have been lucky to be on Win Ben Stein's Money, which by the way, that's the last time he was really funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When did these shows all become so political? I have to admit, I'm not a really regular watcher of those, but my significant other used to be a huge Howard Stern fan. Then he got all woke, and I don't know. He seems to have lost his edge. I mean, what happened to the days where they be evaluating, young gals wearing bikinis and things like that? I mean, are they ever going to go back to that? I have no idea. I haven't watched in years, but ever since they kind of pulled the political shtick, it just isn't the same.
Yeah, you might remember. I think you might be referring to one of his New Year's Eve specials. That was a pay-per-view. I saw it with my friend the Penguin. It was a pay-per-view, and it was Howard Stern with a bunch of guests, and the guests included Sherman Helmsley. Uh, uh, I oh, Daniel Carver, the head of the Ku Klux Klan at the time, and some chicks and broads and stuff like that. And yeah, they had a beauty contest, and they had this one woman who had put puppets on her breasts and something like that. It was pretty bad, and it was funny. I thought it was funny. And John Wayne Bobbitt was the guest of honor.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and almost every other sketch was about John Wayne Bobbitt's wiener being cut off.
I can imagine.
Yeah, see, that's when Howard Stern was funny. And then he had Sherman Helmsley and him do a sketch as Whoopi and Ted Danson in blackface. It's absolutely hilarious. But their nards have been cut
Oh
off.
my
Like,
goodness.
they didn't stand on their principles. They didn't stand on what got them there. They just became lapdogs, and they got bobbited, both of them. So speaking of lack of spine, what do you think the chances are? And I want to know what you think out there. I know Deborah's out there, cousin Vinny, anybody who's out there, or anybody who's watching us here. I want to know what you think. And Jenny, do you think the Republicans will have the testicular wherewithal, the nards, if you will, to pass the SAVE Act, or at least get that voter ID through?
I most certainly hope so, but I'm not really sure because I understand Thune was not 100% on board. So I certainly hope they have the kahunas to do so. If they could get Susan Collins to do so, why not everybody else? I'm really tired of these rhinos, but hey, I mean, if she was signing on, I mean, my last understanding was that what's her head from Alaska, Burkowski, and also Tom Tillis were not signing on, and it's kind of like, why not have voter ID? What's wrong with transparency and fair and honest elections? I just don't understand.
Yes, and the Democrats, I know in lockstep, most of them are going to be like, no, I can't do this. Some of our colleagues wouldn't be here anymore. We'd lose any power we had. But they're already going to take a beating when illegals aren't counted in the census, or less of them will be around to be counted. That's going to be a problem for them. There you go. Thank you. Nope. But the fact is, you need an ID. Look, this is the same party that made you walk around with a vaccine card to go to the hospital to see your loved ones. Made you walk
Mhm.
around with a vaccine ID to go to a restaurant. And
Oh
now
gosh, I don't miss those days.
that's right. And now, of course, to vote? Oh, for heaven forbid. No, look, here's what happens. There are people, I know the Democrats will say, well, illegals don't vote. There are people who come in using assumed names. They steal other people's, or they have social security cards that are stolen anyway That's another network we can talk about. And they kind of sneak in on whatever motor voter bill some states have, if you will, and they take advantage of states like New York that don't take an ID or don't ask about citizenship status or anything like that. And this way, on paper, it doesn't look like they're voting.
Well, you got to remember that some places that dead people vote and so forth. Isn't that a thing in Chicago?
Yes. And what about New York City? When Dinkins was elected mayor in 1989, there was a report of this is one out of likely a lot more, but it was a report of 50 voters having for Dinkins having the same PO box as their address.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
50 people with same PO box as their address. That was a story coming
Mm.
out, and it wasn't widespread because, well, you can't say anything bad about Dinkins. I think,
Of course not.
yeah, he was the precursor to your Mandanis of the world and your what was it, Mayor Wilhelm. That would be De Blasio. But I just I don't know if the Republicans have the guts to push this and see it through. And the main reason behind it isn't necessarily the rhinos, it's the lazy filibuster.
Mm-hmm.
You're hearing the Republicans and people on our side with the rhetoric, "Get rid of the filibuster, get rid of the filibuster." I say no. We cannot get rid of the filibuster because if the Democrats cheat their way into a majority again in the Senate, we're gonna need that filibuster. What
True.
we need is to bring back the real filibuster, the one where people have to to talk for days straight and just wear the opposition down or wear themselves down and see who wins the battle of wits. What do you think? Am I off?
No, not. I'm a little perplexed by that get rid of the filibuster option as well. It's worked well for both sides for many many years. So I don't quite understand. So I'm on your side, Chris.
Think about this. That would be the best live stream in the world. Everybody would tune in. I'm not talking about that. Who was it? Was it Booker that yammered on about absolutely nothing and pretended it was a filibuster for a while? It's going to
Probably
be.
so.
It would be real. I want to see people like Chuck Schumer and his try to talk for 24 hours straight without falling asleep, or do a tag team, or or Senator Gillibrand yammer on about something, maybe sing choruses of "'Cause I'm a Blonde" by Julie Brown or something like that for 24 hours straight. I want to just see them try to just talk about nothing. Democrats are good at talking about nothing. They can
Of
lie their
course.
way through it. They could take a week, but I want to see I want to see the Republicans say to the world two things about the real filibuster, the earned filibuster. I want to see the Republicans say, "We mean business. We're going to sit through all of this till you wear down." And the Democrats will effectively say, "Well, we are against free and fair elections because we despise the idea of making you prove you're a citizen and having some ID and proving it yourself, and you're not voting in somebody else's name. I want to stand against that. That's our last stand. And we're going to keep going for days until that happens." I want them to tell the American public and put their faces behind it. None of this, "All right, we're going to filibuster, so just move it along." What do
Yeah,
you
that's not. I mean, at the core, the SAVE Act would require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote, and supporters say it strengthens election integrity. But I'm definitely with you about saving the filibuster. We're going to need it.
Right. It's the American way. It's absolutely the American way. And the reason why you have again, your reason why you have the filibuster is if you're really that strong, dead set against it, and you really think this piece of legislation is wrong, and you're a senator, it's the last grasp when you're fighting the tyranny of the majority.
Absolutely.
Right. But having said that, it also puts the opposition's names and faces in front of something that might be unpopular with the people, or the majority's names and faces in front of something that they're trying to shove down people's throats.
Very true.
Right.
Very true.
Right. And I'm tired of this, and I know the Democrats would abuse the whole situation if there was no filibuster. That's
Oh,
another thing.
absolutely.
But they lied about this voter ID Act, and then I'm sitting here listening to these people yammer on and lie, blatantly lie, or try to reframe these things. I want to hear what you think about some of these people. Let's start with Senator Patty Murray. First her, then you.
That is not the half of it. Just consider all the people who will face new challenges just to vote for no good reason. If you are a student who just moved to start college, Republicans will make it harder for you to vote. Because if this bill passes, you will need to show a photo ID and proof of citizenship in every single state. But a student ID won't count.
Patty Murray hasn't done anything of note ever since she got elected as the mom in tennis shoes back in the 90s. She's
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
Wasn't she part of that stupid choose your
Women of the Year, back when they could define what a woman was.
well, wasn't she part of that choose your warrior with Jasmine Crockett and all those other people? Those
Oh,
idiots?
probably.
Yeah, trying to be the video game people. By the way, yes, Deborah. In Wisconsin, they did find those ballot boxes, and we know about Pennsylvania, by the way, too. The ballot boxes from the 2020 election. Excuse me, not the ballot boxes, the ballots. The truck full of ballots that were driven from Long Island to near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the capital, for the 2020 election. And here's where Murray's lying. I was a college student. My first year of college, I voted. You know how? Absentee ballot.
There you go.
See, I already had the ID and the proof of citizenship. And every kid who's in college, 18 years old, you already registered for the vote. You already likely proved your citizenship anyway. You're going to vote or you have the opportunity to vote via absentee ballot.
There you go.
Right. So that's never not happened. That's not going to be taken away. That's one of the reasons why we have absentee ballots. And this also keeps college students from voting in local elections. You shouldn't have. When I went to New Paltz, there was this bill, or there's this fight about letting college students who live in the dorms vote in local elections. Not right. I didn't.
Yeah, because they only live there a few years and then they move away and then they change the trajectory for the tax-paying, hardworking citizens that actually live there. I've seen this over and over and over again.
Oh, that's how they got that goofy mayor, the Green Party mayor, Jason West, in New Paltz. You remember how that
Oh,
made major news?
goodness.
Yep. Made major news
Wow.
in 2000, somewhere along the line. This kid, Jason West, ran it on a Green Party ticket. And I'm sure it was, I know there were I know New Paltz, a lot of old hippies there, but the students, oh, let's do something cool and put a Green Party candidate in there. That's the kind of thing you get. And you don't want to interfere with local elections when people who live there and pay their taxes are going to be outvoted by those who drink beer and throw the garbage all over the streets for like 8 months out of the year and then leave.
Goodness, how did that work out for them? How long was this guy in office?
He was a one-termer. Yeah. Anyway, it's another story for another day. And you had another one, Senator Jeff Merkley. Listen to the dog whistles this guy gives.
And we know so because Donald Trump said it himself. He said, you pass this act and it will guarantee the midterms and every election for a long time. And why did he have such confidence that it would guarantee the November election for his party? The answer is because this bill is about stopping groups from voting who tend to vote for Democrats.
Well, yes. Illegals, people who vote 2 or 3 different times, fraudsters. Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But he threw a couple of dog whistles in there, Jenny. I just want to get your thought on this. He tried to give the undertone that Donald Trump and the Republicans wanted to cheat.
They're always gaslighting us, aren't they? Always.
Yep. Yeah.
Always.
Gaslighting and dog whistling. There we go.
Always. I mean, it shouldn't be of any surprise that he's from a state where they do this stuff on the regular. And I mean, what's wrong with winning fair and honest elections? For real.
Well, that's the thing. If fair and honest elections are important for people, if we, again, like has been said before, It's a great republic if you can keep it. A republic if you can keep it. But the idea is there are people who would find and can find different and interesting ways to steal power. And right now, a lot of this is through propaganda. And you hear what Merkley said. He was trying to convince all of us that Donald Trump and the Republicans wanted to use this to cheat, where in fact, yeah, we're keeping people from voting. We're keeping people from, but we're not keeping women from voting. This is all BS. That's oh, women can't prove they're citizens because some of them might have changed their names, or black people don't have IDs. What they're really telling you is they think their own constituents are dumber than a box of rocks and will never be able to vote.
That is at the heart of it. That's what made me realize that I wasn't a Democrat back then. I realized that, I don't really appreciate that people assuming the way that I think just because of how I look and so forth. And I don't appreciate these people assuming that I'm not smart enough to read legislation or understand what they're passing. So I figured out a long time ago that it's not about what's best for you and I, it's about what's best for them and keep him in power.
I totally 100% agree with you on that one. Jenny Kefauver is with me here on Tony Schaefer's show. Tony will be in it very soon. We'll have a lot of fun together doing all of that. But I do want to get into Iran Strait of Hormuz and all of that. But I again, this is where I want Tony in, and obviously we'll be passing that baton over very soon. Um, I'm just, but again, listening to the Democrats trying to find any reason to convince people in the middle that they're being oppressed or somebody's being squeezed out. And type polls or liberal have say that Democrats are many Democrats are in favor, or the vast majority of Democrats are in favor of voter ID. A lot of the minority groups are in favor of voter ID.
Well, they always need an oppressed constituency, always.
Well, maybe you have a better, I guess, had better SAT scores than Gavin Newsom, right?
I'd like to think so.
And this leads me
And
to
he
the
wants to be president.
right. What fraud has been the mantra, and again, a lot of this is kind of legal fraud, if you will, ballot harvesting. That has been the way the left has operated for a very long time, and it's kind of biting them in the arse right now. Have you seen what's going on in California?
Oh, always,
Now,
always.
the California gubernatorial race is going to wind up having, at least at the pace it is now, it's going to wind up with, it could wind up with two Republicans running against each other because the Democrats tried to fix the elections every year. So it would be, the primary would result in the two top vote getters, usually Democrats becoming the front runners and the final two contestants, if you will, in the showcase showdown called Election Day.
Yeah, and the joke's on them now, right?
Right, right. With so many Democrats running, two Republicans are the front runners, and of course, the high taxes and gas becoming $8 a gallon in some places, thanks to their tax policy, that plays a factor. But think about this, Jenny. There are now recent reports about petition fraud.
Tell me more about that.
Well, there's a petition fraud investigation going on right now in California. I'm going to play this this news piece for you from Fox News, and believe me, this has been going on for a very long time, but it's only coming to light now because the Democrats in California want to knock off some of their let's just say some of their people to make room for some make room for their own front runners.
Possible ballot fraud caught on camera after a viral video appears to show people in San Francisco being paid cash to sign campaign petitions with fake names. Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is reporting out of LA on that for us. Hi, William.
What I'm about to show you is one reason people don't trust the election system. Long line, mostly homeless, getting $5 to sign election petitions. Not only is that illegal, they're also being asked to commit fraud by impersonating other voters hundreds of miles away.
And believe me, you don't think this has been going on for a long time and hasn't gone unchecked, or has it's been unchecked. It's been known for a very long time. It's there now because the Democrats are in danger right now of losing the gubernatorial mansion, the governor's mansion, if you will.
So they have to resort to lying, cheating, and stealing. Isn't that rich?
Yeah, it is. And Katie Porter's already been targeted for signature fraud. We'll see where that goes, and that's going to be big. If she's the one out, if she's the odd woman out, that would take this article here and make it a little less relevant. This is from the LA Times, I believe. Los Angeles Times. So you see that here? I think I have that up. The idea is there's a fair chance that the governor's race is going to wind up being filled with being led by 2 Republicans. Here's how it looks right now, or at least at the most recent poll. Steve Hilton, small business owner, has 17% of the likely voters in there as well, according to polls. Chad Bianco, 16%. Let me tell you, I don't always believe polls. I usually think they're a bunch of garbage. But the left, the Democrats, the ones who, don't hang up on these people generally, they're the ones answering these things. So you have to think the Republicans might have more support than this.
Wow.
The Democrat frontrunners are Eric Swalwell and one Katie Porter. Katie Porter's out.
Wow.
Katie Porter's out. Her vote's split between Swalwell and Steyer. Maybe a couple of these other guys pop out. All of a sudden, now you have Swalwell and Steyer as your frontrunners.
Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Yes.
I really, this is a state where I was born and raised and spent most of my life until I moved out to DC. And I really hope to God that they can turn this around with the way Gavin Newsom has been destroying the state. So I really wish them the best of luck and hope that it works out well for them. And it seems like it might.
I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure the Democrats' leadership, the Democrats' chairman, the state Democrat chairman, has already tried to call on some of the also-rans to step down. It's going to happen. You remember what happened in the 2020 primary, right? The Democrat primary for president.
Yes. That was some crazy stuff.
Well,
my gosh.
Well, what
a
happened?
circus.
What happened was, Bloomberg was running, Biden was running. You had then you had a bunch of also rans and a couple of other moderates in there. The Democrats didn't want Bernie Sanders to win. They didn't want somebody who was too far to the left, or they didn't want somebody who would scare away moderates. So what they did was they took they for some reason there was like a 2-3 day period where all of the moderate Democrats just stepped down, even though they had a chance to win the primary. They stepped down and kind of forced the hand of some of these to back Joe Biden and kind of sneak Joe Biden in as the de facto candidate, as the de facto frontrunner. This is what's going to happen now. And if Porter, as I said, if Porter's the odd woman out, I don't think she's really endeared herself to voters anyway. If she's the odd woman out, that 13% is going to go a long way between Swalwell and Steyer.
Isn't that something? I'm just kind of wrapping my head around this whole situation. Wow.
But think about this. Anybody who can light up gas more than anybody else, as far as a gaslighter, that, my friends, would be Eric Swalwell.
Oh, my goodness.
I get a hey-yo for that one. Hey-yo! So let's have a little fun before Tony. Tony's still stuck at Newsmax right now. So if you want to check him out over there, he should be on with, I think he's on with Bachman. So how about you and me? And again, people can catch this later on too. We are having fun here. Let's here's something for you. Remember when I guess Bill Maher was the standard for the left?
Of course.
Bill Maher was the funniest guy in the left, the standard for the left. I even liked listening to him. I didn't agree with him. He wasn't very informed, but he's a comedian. He didn't care about that stuff. He's become more informed and less woke. There's a correlation there. Think about
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. More informed, less woke. And he talked to one of the most woke actors in television, Jerry O'Connell. I like Jerry O'Connell. He played Georgie in Big Bang Theory. I mean, the older Georgie, not the younger one in the younger shows. But he's telling the guy off. I love it. Check this out.
Democrats really need to cut loose the celebrities. They're not helping. They don't strike people as normal because they're fucking not. Democrats already have a problem with people thinking that they are not the common sense crowd. And then when they see, the Chapel Roans and the Billie Eilishes of the world who don't act like normal people. And then whatever they're saying
He just really wants to say something.
just strikes everybody in America who's a normal person as, oh God,
All right.
here's more of this stuff where you can't relate to a real life. And of course, there was comedy in there about it's so easy to like show celebrities acting crazy.
Well, think about that. And he's right. The celebrities have gone so far woke, so far to the left that they've become parodies of themselves, Jenny.
Oh, absolutely. Bill Maher, yeah, he's been a little interesting the last few years, but I'm glad he's kind of saying it like it is. Now, am I correct that this is the same Jerry O'Connell from Stand By Me, if you remember that? I think we're
Yes,
around the same age, who
Vern.
had mentioned that his wife and daughters came after him for saying that, criticizing Kamala Harris. I mean, saying that they were getting kind of violent with him. That was really something.
Well, that sounds like a cue if ever I heard one. Let's go for it.
I say this, will I stay married? Blow it over here. My
Sounds like you're going to blow it over here.
the night of the election, this third one,
Yeah.
third election. Everyone knows what I'm talking about here.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
The third Trump election, right? Oh, yeah. The third one.
I was watching late at night the returns, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think Trump was going to win. I live in California. I didn't think he was
All right. Who the hell didn't think Trump was going? The Democrats knew Trump was going to win.
going to win.
I
From what
didn't-
I was hearing,
I didn't either.
I think he was going to win.
No, I
This
didn't
is where I live, you know?
Yeah.
I said something along the lines of like, there was no planning. This is what they get. There should have been a primary. I said something along those lines, you know, like I was just spitballing ideas as to, it was a shock, you know. My wife and daughters, without saying anything, became physical with me. They were filled with rage. So if I am being careful with you in how I say things, yes, I live in California. I live with not one, not two, but three people who, if I made any kind of joke, they would they become very angry with me. You know,
That's what happens when you don't spank your kids, right?
Exactly. Wow.
I mean, it has got this is weird though. We have a large section of this population that has been so indoctrinated to believe that if you don't think as the left dictates you to do. Again, this is in the Saul Alinsky playbook, if you will. This is all straight from there. If you don't think like us, then you're a bad person. If somebody you know or are in your family doesn't think the right way, they're bad people, and you have to take action. If you let them talk and you debate with them, that's not a good thing. You have to shut them down because they're bad people.
Yeah, there's no room for debate. There's no room for difference of opinion, and that's very unfortunate. And then you have what happened to Charlie Kirk. Well, all he was trying to do is get people to engage with one another, and look what happened.
I agree there. It's weird the way that works because this is a guy who was preaching just be nice to each other and sit them down and have a nice debate. Talk. We do have to understand that that people, everything that we say and everything that they say can't all be right and all be wrong. And that's the kind of and again for the left to actually indoctrinate enough people, and they have a lot of mentally ill types on their side. Let's just lay it on the floor. They sought out mentally unstable groups like the trans mafia types, if you will, to back them up. They use the rainbow flags and the trans flags as I will tell you, these aren't really gay flags or alphabet flags. They're socialist affirmation flags. They're basically what the left-leaning politicians fly, either equal to or higher than it sometimes the American flag, which, by the way, should be, I believe, is illegal. But if they even fly to that flag, they're telling these people, they're telling the socialists that we have your back and we built another army for you. That's what they're saying. These flags mean nothing but that. Right.
But as if you remember the late Rush Limbaugh, man, I miss him. So he would always talk about what is it, symbolism over substance. That's what it's all about. It's always about what feels good, what sounds good. But again, to quote another great American, Ben Shapiro, facts aren't feelings. So I think that those
I said that
platitudes can
first.
definitely coexist. But yeah, that's the thing about the left is that they're ruled so much by feelings.
I
That's
said
just
that.
not how you run.
I
That's
said
just
that.
not how
I
you run
said
a
that
country.
stuff in my early days of radio before Ben Shapiro was a glint in the milkman's eye. So I'm just kidding out there. I don't even know the guy, so I just like to make jokes. That I even stole that one from the Blackadder, so that's not even my joke. Having said that, you want to go into symbolism over substance, and that's where they really come from. Jerry O'Connell gives you another example of that during this whole show, and this is exactly how the Kamala Harris campaign was run by Democrats. Substance, trying to package her as a pop star because a legitimate politician, not happening.
I went to a Kamala Harris rally. My wife and I donated to the campaign.
Oof.
And Megan Thee Stallion played. And that was pretty fucking epic, Bill, if you were there. I mean, it really invigorated.
Also notice that each of these people always have to put the F word in there just to make them sound stronger and smarter because they just can't do
Always.
anything else.
Always.
And some of them have gone on social. People say there's that study that says people who curse more are smarter. Yeah, right. Where's that coming from? Bunch of dumbasses who curse too much. Anyway, it does sound stupid.
Like excitement,
And really invigorated the people who are already going to vote for her anyway. That's who invigorated.
And that's true. First off, isn't a stallion a male horse?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, like Woodenhead Stallion the Third. But they know how to get their base going and rile up their base and get them out there. And I do believe they think that enough people are stupid enough to go with the pop star type campaign. But again, they underestimate the voter sometimes. That's a problem. We do the same thing, by the way. We either overestimate or underestimate our enemy. Never seems to hit target, do we?
Absolutely. Always have to get ahead of them, and I don't know. Sometimes it's not good to be behind the curveball. I always tell my clients, you got to get ahead of. You've got to get ahead of things 10 steps ahead, so that you're ahead of any sort of curveballs or any kind of disasters.
Yeah. I was there 3 moves ahead of everybody else. That's exactly true. And the Democrats are pulling something else down. You ever hear this thing called Project 2029?
Oh, geez, this must be some sort of a counter to the Project 2025 that they were trying to scare us from voting for Trump against. That Heritage had put out.
Yep, I believe so. And the Democrats or the left are trying to make something out of this Project 2029. And
Oh goodness.
Governor Pritzker was on with some woman here. I didn't even put out our obligatory Jennifer Welch post or Jennifer Welch soundbite. I'm tired of her anyway. I guess this is another one. This is one who drinks a little bit less wine. She's interviewing Pritzker, and he talks about the idea behind
does a Project 2029 agenda look like for you?
I don't think you can speak of it in shorthand, but I'll just say a couple of things that I think are absolutely necessary. One is we've got to restore the rule of law, and that means holding people accountable who've broken the law. I'm talking about in this administration.
Dude, I don't think you.
Oh, jeez.
But the thing is, again, he knows that there's always Clause 83 in this kind of thing. You know what Clause 83 is, right?
I don't actually. Talk to me.
Except for Democrats.
Of course. Of course.
And joining us now for the last few minutes of the program is Walter. Tony is still not here yet, Mary. And I know we missed you for the first part of the show with Jenny Kefauver, Mary Walter. And we're having fun here. I'm sitting in. I'm usually the Ed McMahon around here, Mary.
Well, I apologize for my tardiness. That's 100% on me, but at least I beat Tony to his own show.
Yes, you did. You actually beat Tony. He's been held back at Newsmax. He's supposed to be doing Newsmax earlier today. And then you know how they do. You're a Newsmax personality. Mary, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I apologize. I've been texting with Tony, so I apologize.
See, nobody likes me. I would make you listen to Jerry O'Connell one more time for that, but you know what? I'm not going to punish our Jenny or.
Well, I love Jerry. First of all, I know Jenny, and I love Jerry. So, wow, it's like old home week. This is great.
Yeah, I do like. I actually like him as an actor. He's a fantastic actor, and and he was a cool Georgie on Big Bang Theory. I like that.
I got
show.
that.
Well, let's see. I was kind of working on. We're talking about Project 2029. The Democrats' answer to Project 2025. It's the way they're going to pull off their. They're going to pull. They're going to try to pull this off before they can implement Agenda 2030. So let's get back on this. A little more what Pritzker.
Whatever it is that we can do.
If you don't agree with the Democrats, hold Pritzker away from the buffet table for his fifth serving, you're going to jail. Thoughts, ladies?
I'm sorry, but you guys are frozen for me. But so I didn't hear what JB Pritzker had to say. But just a general comment on the whole Project 2029 thing. Usually Democrats don't project what they do, and they do all this other stuff in the background. You know, their agenda, and they're very good at planning for down the road, and they usually don't show their hands. So this is interesting to me. But look what they do. We now know what they do. They put up vanilla candidates. I'm in the People's Socialist Republic of New Jersey. We have a helicopter pilot as governor. I don't know anything else about her, but they put up these vanilla candidates, and we call her Vanilla Harris. They put up these vanilla candidates that they can paint them whatever they want to be. They don't say much in public. The Democrat base doesn't demand anything of them in public. They hammer the Republican candidate, and they're like, oh, they're a moderate. This person's a moderate. This is great. And they sneak in a true red commie into the office. And then the Democrats who voted for her go, wow, they said she was going to be a moderate. I need to move. And then they go to a red state and then do the same thing all over again. And it's worked for them. So I don't know why they're going to change direction now.
I know why. And this is going to happen. And Jenny, I want to get your thoughts on this. Jenny, I think I did this with you before. But Mary, I want to get both of your thoughts on this. The Democrats are realizing that they can't go on like they're going. They can't keep pushing pushing to the forefront the likes of Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Gretchen Whitmer. They can't. So what they're doing right now is giving this freak show about a year to show the American public that these people are idiots and the Democrats are moving away from them. They're going to find somebody as a full-blown commie. And they tested somebody to do that already. I believe the 2028 nominee is going to be Abigail Spanberger. She's CIA. She's successfully fooled people in Virginia, the moderates in Virginia, into thinking she was a real moderate, and she goes full-blown commie. And nobody else outside of Virginia really knows this. So when it comes to the national stage, and by the way, the scary thing about her, unlike the commies they have like Sanders and DeLauro and Schumer and
Mamdani
like that, she is dangerously competent, and that, my friends, could net the election in 2028.
I live here, and it's a nightmare. It is an absolute night. She's taking away gun owners' rights. She's raised about 50 plus taxes. I want to get the hell out of here. This is not the Virginia that I signed up. I left California and I moved here because it was a lesser cost of living, among other things. This is not what I signed up for at all. She hoodwinked so many people into saying that she was moderate and this and that. No, she wasn't. I knew that going in, though. I didn't, of course, vote for her. And then all these people throwing up their hands. Well, what did you expect? But the problem is MAGA stayed home. And this is what happens. Elections have consequences. I'm sure you can relate. They're in New Jersey, right?
Right.
Well, the problem in New Jersey is New York vomited into New Jersey during COVID, and because our beaches are open and stuff, and they're like, "This is beautiful. We should move here. There's so much more we could do." And they
no.
come here, and
I love it.
and then they vote for the same crap they just left.
Mhm.
And it happened under Dinkins initially, and now under Mamdani.
Oh,
Hey,
one
guys.
thing that Winsome Sears should
Hey,
have done,
Tony.
Tony, and welcome Tony, by the way. Winsome
Yeah.
Sears should have forked over the cash and brought Rod Stewart into campaign for her and tell not Mickey Show. I'm skipping. Tell Abigail Spanberger to leave Virginia alone.
Well, let me
Yeah,
say
yeah,
something
one-
else since we're talking about taxes. So I was on X earlier before the show. Hey, it's good to see y'all. Hochul. Hochul was talking about how apparently it's patriotic to leave Palm Beach. I've been to Palm Beach. It's a beautiful place right next to President Trump. And she's trying to say, hey, all of you billionaires who abandoned the state, what are you doing? It's not patriotic for you to not give me your money so I can give people, welfare. She actually said that today. So, I mean, how is it that people like her literally come out and say the quiet part out loud? It's like, no, you need to come back because I can't soak you for your billions and somehow being a Marxist, redistributing wealth, that according to the left is patriotic. Why do people put up with this?
Tony, along those lines, Bonfoni actually moved out of New Jersey. He's going to Florida. And his estate, by the way, is up for a cool 42 million. But he has the guts then to campaign for Cory Booker right now. Like, you're beating feet to Florida and you're taking your money with you because you don't want to spend all of the new taxes that our helicopter pilot is putting in place. But yet you have the hubris, and they say the other word, to come back and sit here and shill for Cory Booker. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The disconnect is insane.
Unbelievable.
Well, I just don't get it how the people and when you think about Mandami having for New York City, and wanting more, by the way, because he's saying I don't have enough money. He has more money in his budget for the city than the entire state of Florida. Think about that.
Well,
Yep.
How does that work? I don't understand it. How does that even work? I mean, I just don't understand how people. And then Hochul acknowledged, and I posted this on X earlier, it's on my account. She was acknowledging that people of New York are complaining to her about how difficult it is to make a living. Taxes are high. The rent is high. It's like, yeah, they make it high because the politicians take advantage of your good faith and goodwill and use it against you. So what are people going to wake up in these states? I don't understand. I mean, first, I guess over to you, Mary. I mean, because I campaigned for, what's his name? I should remember his name since I went up and campaigned for him in New Jersey.
Chitterelli?
Chitterelli. Yeah, I came up and
Yeah.
they actually flew me up and I spent a day helping campaign with him. While he's not perfect, I think he was a better option than the helicopter pilot. Why do people vote for their own
100%.
misery?
What happened in New Jersey, though, is Bill Spadea was also Bill Spadea lost the primary, but he went on his platform. He's a talk radio host on a very big radio station here. He went on and continued to trash Chitterelli. Like, he kept saying, I don't think he's the best choice. And it's like, Republicans don't play well together. And sometimes we have sore losers. And we just lost a recent race by like 7 votes because there were 2 Republicans running and split the Republican vote. And more Republicans voted in that. So Republicans need to learn how to play in the sandbox together. And Chitterelli, because of Chitterelli losing, and I'm not blaming Bill for all of it, but he should have been a good loser, be a gracious loser, and he should have backed Chitterelli, even though he didn't think he was the best candidate. Either that or say nothing at all. So I don't think he did the state any favors. And now we have the helicopter pilot. I don't know what else she does, but she's a helicopter pilot, and we are where we are. So it's our own fault. Republicans' fault.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand. Well, Virginia is going to be a special case because I live in North Carolina. I have to be in Washington tomorrow. because I'm going up to do the Right Squad for 2 days. But
Oh,
it's just a
nice.
trip. Yeah, well, I don't know how nice it is. It's work.
But it's
I have
fun.
to
You get to work with Chris.
I have to get up there and everything. And I'm doing a thing at the Spy Museum tomorrow too, by the way, FYI. So
Nice.
anyway, but the Virginia thing to me is unique in that, again, you have a state that for the most part, I think there's a lot of people I respect and like, but they didn't show up. To your point about Winsome Sears, like, okay, she was not the perfect candidate, but to vote in a Marxist, I don't know how that's better. What do you? I mean, what do you think about it? I don't think that was the right answer.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, we're suffering the consequences right now with the
Yeah.
2A rights going away, with the taxes being voted in, and MAGA did not come out to vote. And the
No, I
thing
know.
is, I will say this, as someone who lives here, I did some volunteer work for the Winsome Sears campaign. I told them, let me know when you need people to go door knocking or what have
Yeah.
you. And I never heard from them. I wanted to help. I was very worried about this race for months. But what else could I do?
No. Well, they're doing things like, I don't know. This is a scary 60 round magazine. Ooh, it's 60 bullets in this. And they're trying to say that this is dangerous. It's not dangerous. It's like any other technology. It's who uses the technology determines the outcome of its use. Not just, let me go on the record here, and I'm going to forecast that there's not going to be a single fatality or injury in my house today because this is in my house, right? I mean, it's technology. So, Mary, why is it you have politicians trying? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to ask you very quickly about both of you. Former Virginia resident. Don't you think though that whole thing is going to wind up getting trashed in the courts? You can't carve out. You can't. It's Second Amendment is a right. It's in the Constitution, and you can't do a carve out for some people and not others. You can't deprive some people of their Second Amendment right and give it to others. What do you think?
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And I hope to God they get trashed over this issue because I'm over it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail you. I just
I think it's a valid point by the fact that so much of what I talk about and do here in North Carolina has to do with maintaining freedom. I'm an elected official. I'm going to be I got a meeting later tonight where we're going to be going over tax stuff, which is always a popular issue. And then I've got to be an event next week, a week from today, on medical health, basically public service medical health. And these, while you may not look at this as a Second Amendment issue, in that so much freedom of what we promote as conservatives has to do with choice, not deprivation. I mean, the idea here is that if you want to have a gun, have a gun. I don't care, as long as you have it legally. If you have medical care available, you should have that available to you. We're not going to provide it for free. I think it should be available at a reasonable cost. This is one of the things that drives me nuts about the left. They presume that certain things should be quote unquote a right. Doctors get trained to be doctors. They provide a service. That service is something that a lot of people rely upon, no doubt, but cannot demand a professional do something for free based on the fact that they have to invest in themselves in the future. So I'm all for the idea of freedom of having choice, but you got to actually invest in that choice and pay for it, or else it means nothing. This whole idea of getting stuff for free never works. Nothing free is worthwhile. Otherwise, all Americans would have moved to Canada for the great health care by now, right?
Right.
It's not.
It's true. Yeah.
So anyway, where did Chris go? I don't know where he went. I think he must have ran off. Anyway, let's continue the conversation, I guess, with some of the things that I've been kind of whining about lately. Did you guys? I missed it because I was on Newsmax just since I worked for them. Did you guys talk about the Oscars already?
That would be a Jen question, since I barely beat you to your own show,
Jen. Yeah, I mean to you, Jen. Yeah, I know Mary and I were late, but so all right. Well, I just noted that I for the life of me can't tell you who won anything at the Oscars because it means nothing. Just like I don't care, and I think several other actors who are conservative kind of were asked about it. It's like, yeah, we don't care. And I think it's done. I
Exactly.
think so much of what we invest in now regarding culture has nothing to do with what is available. And I guess, Jen, first to you, then to Mary. There's a slow but sure movement behind the scenes of certain leaders taking charge of corporations. Do we finally think we're going to see an end to woke nonsense or not? Because look, Trump's been in a year; it's still going on. So, Mary, first to you, then to Jen. So,
All right, so I think what we start to see happen is maybe there's one or two more Oscars and that's it. Because to quote President Trump, everything liberals touch turns to. I don't know if I could say that on your podcast, so I'm not going to say it.
This is
Okay, it all turns to
uncensored, yeah.
shit. That's what he
Yeah.
says. It all turns to shit. And I didn't want you to have to edit. So
Chris edits,
they're
I don't.
doing it. It's their own demise.
Yeah.
They're committing suicide. They're committing harikari on their own, and they're too stupid to see it because they're wealthy and they speak other people's words and for a living, and so they think they're smarter than the rest of us. Look at Bruce Springsteen. I mean, he used to live like 10 minutes from me, moved to a farm to pay lower taxes, which is ironic again. But I grew up around Springsteen. I grew up around Springsteen, Bon Jovi. It was my world before they were even popular outside of the state, right? Bruce he's brilliant with songwriting. He's not that smart. He's just not that smart of a guy. Someone who is very, very close to him once said to me, if it weren't for his stupid ability to be able to write songs and make music, he'd be on the back of a garbage truck in Freehold. So he's very easily influenced. And I think a lot of these people are. And it's such an insular society. It's much like Washington, D.C. Hollywood just says, oh, this is the latest thing. Tom Hanks is doing it. And he's like the best. So I better do it too. They're much like a group of 13-year-old girls at a lunch table. So I think it all dies out.
Point, why does Bruce look like a lesbian now? I don't understand that.
You know, have you noticed like a lot of older men? Bon Jovi's starting to look like Bon Jovi's hot. Let me tell you, having seen Bon Jovi like in places like grocery stores and things like that, the man is hot. There is no denying it. Even when he's like with his kids shopping, he's hot.
Yeah.
But he's starting to morph into it. And I think it's, male menopause. Welcome to the world. We become more masculine. You become more feminine. It's the way it is. And at the end of it, we're like babies. When babies are first born, you can't tell if it's a male or a female baby, right? And when you get older, a lot of times you can't tell if it's an octogenarian who's a man or a woman. So I think it's just the circle of life.
I don't know. It's something especially feminine about the boss, just saying. Anyway, Jen, over to you real quick. So on that point, I have a number of friends who are celebrities. I text with them. One of them is he's a legend because he's been in some amazing movies, and I don't want to mention any names because you probably figure out pretty quick who he is. But he keeps his mouth shut. He keeps his head down. He is very focused on maintaining a career. He was part of an announcement recently of a new sci-fi series coming back. That should be a hint of who he is. Anyway, our side has people who really are conservative in that they don't stick their neck out there for the right reason. I think they ought to be more vocal because they're smart. I mean, I actually correspond with this guy. He's always on top of things, but he won't go public because, of woke. He knows he won't work again. He'll be eliminated from. So do you think we're going to get past this where conservatives can be, out of the closet in this new era?
I think it's better than it used to be. There's so many more mediums and so many more platforms that exist right now. You've got PureFlix, right? Didn't they get acquired or something? And you've got these different individual podcasters. Joe Rogan, I wouldn't qualify him as necessarily conservative, but he's definitely the leading independent voice. And it's got one of the largest podcasts globally, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's better than it used to be, but I do think it's unfortunate that there's still this underlying notion that if you say the wrong things, then boom, you're canceled. I mean, and I think it's unfortunate that so many who would maybe like to speak out, just like the friend that you mentioned, Tony, just would not, simply because of the reverberations. So I don't know. I feel like the environment is better than it used to be, but I still think that we have some work to go.
Yeah. So, well, he wore a jacket that was fully metal at one point. Just saying, one of the guys. Anyway,
Not
anyway,
not like
yeah,
Tim
it's a good
Walz.
hit. Anyway, well,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm hoping that we can all just kind of be who we are. Now, I'm coming up. Full disclosure, Chris is not going. Right, you're not going up to see Cherie next week. Cherie is one of
No,
the
I'm
most
doing her. I'm seeing her
outspoken.
next month. Yeah, April.
So Cherie Curry, talk about girl power, cool girl power, not the fake girl power of the left. Cherie Curry, extraordinarily gifted, talent. I mean, she's done everything, but she's been very outspoken about being a conservative. Our friend Susan Olson has been.
Oh yeah.
She got canceled from the Brady Bunch reboot because she's a conservative and spoke her mind. So, it's sad that we know people who have been victimized by this woke mob who actually will come and get you simply because you have an opinion that goes against their view. And one of the things I'm going to say this real quick, Chris, we have to wrap this up. I know because I got to go do some other things too.
Same here.
But one of the things I'm going to say is that radical Islam and Sharia, there's no compatibility between the United States and the Constitution and the Republic and that because, Islam itself is a political movement, not a religion. It's the idea that you will inflict this religion and these beliefs on a society or else they'll kill you. I mean, that's pretty. And so both Cherie and Susan have been very outspoken about this. And so I don't want to get us in trouble. Well, maybe I do. But I'm just going to say it. I think it's time we recognize there's no compatibility between Islam and the Republic. So first, Jen, to you, then to Mary. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Look, if you want to come to this country and practice your religion of choice, so be it. But do not expect myself and my family to convert to your religion,
Exactly.
because it makes you feel better, and then try to pass laws that will affect my family and so
Yeah.
forth. I mean, having been to the United Kingdom several times in the last few years, I mean, you can see the uptick in Islam. I had a client back in 2008, mind you, who's originally from the UK, who had told me at that time that Islam was the fastest growing religion in the United Kingdom. And I said, oh my goodness. Well, here we are. And I think that isn't it the majority of the mayors of the big cities in the United Kingdom are Muslim? And then look at what's
some of the big
happening in
cities,
Texas.
Birmingham and London. Yeah. So, yeah. So, all right, Mary, what do you think? Should we actually do something to stop this nonsense?
Well, I think we have to be very surgical about it because there's a difference between Muslims and Islamists. And I think we have to recognize that. And I think also the left will always use that against us. And I'm like, you're Islamophobic, which isn't even it's not the they use it against us, and we need to stop playing that game, right? We need to stop being afraid to criticize Sharia law. When they're in Times Square praying, right? They take over the Times Square, they block everything. They don't do that in Muslim countries. They only do that in non-Muslim countries as a show of force to show that we're going to take you and we will dominate you. That's what they do, and that's part of their takeover. But they are having more babies than we are. Right? They're having more babies. And we need, and you know what? So Hasidic Jews also are having far more babies. And I'm not saying Hasidic Jews aren't violent. I'm not saying that. Islamists are, not all of Islam.
Wow.
But we need to be careful because I see it here in New Jersey. They'll get on the boards and they take over the boards of the town. And then their group suddenly has enough money for busing for boys and girls in separate buses, even though there's like 5 kids on a bus. And the public school kids don't have any money for schools. So you have to be careful about this. And so what do people do? They just pick up and move. You can't keep doing that. Somewhere along the line, you have to stand and fight and say, you are not more equal than I am. Regardless of the group that it is. I don't care what group it is. You have to, and we can't be cowed in the name of religion.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's something we have to be steely-eyed about, is that, and I'm just going to be blunt because I don't have to be as surgical as you do, Mary. The idea that Sharia would permit a diminution of women's rights as part of their official doctrine is unacceptable. The idea that women are half smart, Muhammad says this in the Quran, that it takes 2 women to have the same witness authority and ability as one guy. I mean, I just don't see how anybody has ever said, oh, this is acceptable, because those aren't religious principles. Those go against the very principles of the Republic and the Constitution. All men and women are created equal. And the idea that somehow we've permitted this infection to get into our body politic is something that's not healthy. Right, Chris?
Exactly. And the funny thing is, maybe they think that all women are a lot like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Kamala
Yeah.
Harris. Maybe that's why they want to keep them quiet.
Maybe.
But I will tell you this: keep in mind, some women are very powerful and very dangerous in those countries. I mean, if you might remember Chemical Ali from Iraq. So there are some exceptions to the rule over there.
Yeah.
So
see, and Tony, just very quickly to what you said, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I just jumping. I truly don't care if those women want to live that way. Like if your religion says you have to marry someone 15 years older, there, you knock your socks off, sweetheart. That's your thing. You go for it. I don't care. But when you get on the boards of towns, etc., and you start running the government, and your people from your religion or your group become more equal than everyone else who are not part of your religion or group, we wind up with that two-tiered system of justice, which we already have, where the ruling elites are more equal than us. We don't need that on yet another level. And that's what's got to be stopped. And you can't run away from it, because if you run away, then they just take over.
yeah. So anyway, well, we want to not take over, but take off, because we got to go. I got to get a haircut and get ready for tomorrow, since I got to go up and be all pretty sitting next to Chris Plant on the show. Just saying, there on the Right Squad. I do. It's a requirement,
Well, you
and then
hug Chris.
otherwise, yeah.
I was just gonna say, give Hug a big. Give Chris a big hug from us.
I will.
Give John Gizzy my best regards too.
Yeah, I'll see John too. Yeah, I will, Jen. Yeah, and I'm going to try to get Chris to come on sometime. And I guess, Chris, we could ask John Gidley to come on too. John's a friend. I mean, John and I do. Mary knows this. I do Saturday morning updates with Rick Fowler on every Saturday, along with John Gizzy. We're on there together. And that, by the way, that's the number one rated morning show on in the DC market on Saturday morning.
Oh, nice. I love me some John Gizzy too. John Gizzy and Chris, love them both. Yeah, I should definitely do it.
All right, good. Well, we got to go. Thanks for folks for being here. And sorry we were late, but things happen.
Sorry.
Chris, by the way, Chris, are you trying to look more Klingonese with that beard, or am I missing something?
Yeah, it just hides my face and makes people happier. I was thinking the paper bag, but it gets in the way of the headphones.
No,
so that doesn't help
I
either.
think you ought to do the ribbed forehead and just go all full Klingon. I think that's a great look.
I could. Then I can sound like Worf and be the voice for I am Weasel.
I am not a merry man, which is a great line for Worf. So,
quick question. While we're here, I have this on my Facebook page, so anybody who's here listening, watching, check it out. Question: best captain. What is it? Kirk, Cisco, Archer, or Picard? And note that I don't include Janeway or that other chick from Discovery.
Oh, Kirk is. I'm just going to go with Kirk, because I always go with Kirk.
I'm a Kirk. Ladies.
I have no idea what you said there. Those are words that meant nothing to me. So I don't know.
All right. Don't let
Sorry.
say that. Yeah. Hey,
all right. Well,
sorry.
We will get into pop culture some other day when we do have stuff to go through. Hey, by the way, Jen and Mary, can you guys do pop culture like spy movies and stuff like that, or not?
Not spy movies. That's a dude thing. So
Same thing.
Have at it. Yeah.
Well, we could
No,
go
we
do
wanna-
this in
wanna
New
have
York,
cultural
London,
things we wanna
Paris,
do,
and
right,
Munich
Chris?
and talk about pop music.
Pop music. You should be able to do that, right?
Right.
Men Without Hats.
M.
I'm getting
Next
blank
season,
looks.
maybe
Yeah, I am. Pop
No, I
music.
know the song. I just didn't know where we were going, since we were just talking
They
about
didn't
like
enjoy
Star
it.
Trek
They
or
didn't
something, or
enjoy it.
Star Wars.
Yeah, we do this.
They didn't enjoy the 70s and 80s like we did. So.
You listen, 70s and 80s. Every wedding I go to with young people, they're all playing 70s and 80s music. So makes me feel not so old.
Yeah.
My son, Anthony Alexander, just turned 32 yesterday, and he loves 80s, and he wasn't even alive then. So yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to go. We got to go. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Mary.
Bye.
Chris, thank you.
you.
we'll see you next Wednesday, and then otherwise we'll have a special tomorrow night, and back Sunday for the Sunday debrief. Anyway, good seeing you all. We'll see you soon.
Wow.
It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for having me.